What is up, people? It is your boy Mr. Porter, aka Porter the Plug, and in this video we're going to cover the fundamentals to get you started with Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet software used to store, analyze, calculate, and present data. Okay, I already know what your next question is. What is a spreadsheet? We're going to get to that. Hang tight.
Mr. Porter, what's data? You didn't answer that one.
Okay, I got you. Data in simple terms is information. Information collected for reference or analysis. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. The version of Excel we're going to be rocking with is the 2016 version. But just like our Microsoft Word tutorial, we're focusing on the fundamentals. So the things we cover in this video are easily applied to newer versions, including the free version that comes with Office 365. So when you open Microsoft Excel, you're going to be asked if you want to start with a blank document or if you want to start with a template. A template is simply a document that has been previously created where the design and the formatting have already been done for you. And in Excel, the formulas have been done for you as well. There are many different templates that you can use, but Microsoft makes it easy for you by allowing you to search for templates, or they have suggested searches for you. So if I'm a small business owner, I can click here on business and I can see different ways that I can use Excel to help my business. Businesses typically use Excel for things like keeping up with scheduling, basic accounting and bookkeeping, or they use it to keep up with product sales and customer data. Templates are a great time saver because all you have to do is come in and customize the information, and most of the work has been done for you. But since you clicked on this video, I assume you really want to get it out the mud, so we're going to start with a blank document because that's the best way to learn. When you open up Excel, I get it. It can be a little intimidating. At least when you open up Microsoft Word, it looks like a sheet of paper. But this just looks like a bunch of boxes. But that's what you got me for. Let's break it down. What you're looking at right now is way more than a bunch of boxes on the screen. What you're looking at is a spreadsheet. And a spreadsheet is an electronic document where data can be arranged in rows and columns. More on that in just a second. But these sheets make up a workbook. And if you wanted to add additional sheets to your workbook, you just come down here to the bottom and click on this plus sign. So now I have sheet 1 and I have sheet 2. And this can be used for different sets of data. So if you really want to understand the fundamentals of Microsoft Excel, let's start with some terminology and the layout. And this is the same across other Microsoft products. At the top of the page, you'll see what's called tabs. And these tabs are organized based on what they can do for your document. The Home tab is where the most commonly used commands for Microsoft live. And if you click on the Insert tab, this is where you would click if you wanted to insert something into the document, like a picture or a hyperlink. But notice, every time you click on a tab, you get a different set of options. So every time you click on a tab, what displays is called a ribbon. And this ribbon is broken up into smaller groups. So you have the clipboard group, the font group, alignment group,
number group, styles group, sales group, editing group.
And if I click on the Insert tab, I get a new ribbon and I also get a new set of groups. But the way that Microsoft is designed, there's not always enough space to put everything inside of one group. So you'll notice in the lower right hand corner, you see this arrow. This is called the launch button. When you click on the launch button, it gives you even more options for that particular group. So like we said earlier, spreadsheets are broken down into rows and columns. Rows go from left to right and are labeled by numbers. So you have row 1, row 2, row 3. When you think about rows, think about like rows in a movie theater. Columns go up and down and are labeled by letters. So you have column A, column B, column C, and these just keep going and going and going. So even after you get past column Z, you have column AA, AB, AC, and they just keep going. When you think about columns in front of a house. Now where a column and a row meet is called a cell. And these cells are named. So if I were to click here, this would be cell E5. And it also shows you the name of the cell up here because I am in column E and I am on row 5. So that would be E5. C5 would be right here. Or this would be H9, because again, column H, row 9. Additionally, you have what's called a range of cells. Now, a range of cells can be all in the same column, in the same row, or it can span across columns and rows. The ranges of cells have names as well, and it starts with the cell in the upper left-hand corner and ends with the cell that is in the lower right-hand corner. So this would be D3 through H13. And this is illustrated with the name of the first cell, a colon, and the name of the last cell. And down here at the bottom of the sheet, you have your sheet names. So you can rename this sheet in order to fit whatever your document is about. And since we don't need sheet 2 at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. The way to delete a sheet is to right click and then just click on delete. And we want to rename sheet 1. So we're going to right click again and we'll go to rename. Now we can name our sheet. So today we're going to be talking about Black-owned businesses in my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. So we're just going to say Black-owned businesses, Memphis. That's going to be the name of our sheet. Now that our sheet's renamed, so that we can see a little bit better, I'm going to zoom in on this so that our cells are a little bit more visible. So in the lower right hand corner, you will see the zoom. And I'm going to zoom in, and you can do this manually just by dragging, or you can just kind of play around with it. Plus is going to be zooming in, minus is going to be zooming out. So to get started, I'm going to type our title in cell A1. So to click on A1, I'll go to column A, row 1.
Here, I'm going to type Black-owned businesses in Memphis, Tennessee.
Now it looks like this information is in cell A1, B1, C1, and even a little bit in D1, but it's not. That's all cap. So if I were to type in cell B1, look what happens to the information. It cuts it off. So all this is saying to me right now is column A isn't big enough for the information that I have typed inside of it. So there's a couple ways that you can change the column width to make this bigger so that you can see all of the words. And it also just makes your document look nicer. So one way that you can do this is if you take your mouse and you put the cursor in between column A and column B, right on the line, you'll see your cursor changes to a double-sided arrow. Now you can click and drag this until you see all of the words that you have typed, and that changes what is called your column width. Now you can do this with rows as well to make your row taller. This is called changing the row height. So let's undo both of those. And there's some other ways that you can do this as well. So if you wanted to easily change the column width, you can come between column A and column B, go to the double-sided arrow. If you double click, this will automatically change the column width to fit whatever information you've typed inside of that column. Now, there's one last way that I'll show you how to do this. If you wanted to do it manually, you could right click on the column and you could change the column width just by typing in a number here. So let's say I wanted this to be a little bit bigger. I could change this to 40 and it expands a little more. But for now, I'm going to get rid of the data that we have in B1. And I'm also going to drag this back just a little bit because I'll show you a better way to make what's in column A look a little bit cleaner a little bit later. But for now, let's put some column headers for our data that we're going to enter into our spreadsheet. Now you may have noticed when I entered this information in the cell A1, when I hit enter, it automatically brought me down to cell A2. This is important because as you begin to use Excel more and more, you'll notice that it's all about speed. And when you're entering in a lot of data, you want to be able to try to use your mouse as little as possible because it takes time away from you being able to get back to your hands being on the keyboard. So let's talk about a couple of ways that you can move around in Excel by just using the keyboard and not having to click using the mouse. All right. So the first one is enter. If you hit enter, you'll move down on your spreadsheet. Now to move up, if you hit shift and enter at the same time, you move up the spreadsheet. Now to move to the right, you would press the tab button. So every time you press the tab button, you move to the right. And to move back to the left, you can click Shift and Tab at the same time, and that moves you back to the left. Now you can also use the arrows. That's another way to move around in Excel. Or, like I said, you can use just clicking around with the mouse. So let's get started with some column headers. So we're going to keep track of business name, business type, the location, and the owner or owners. Now I hit enter and it brings me down, and it also brings me to the left, expecting me to type the next record. But I made a misspelling. If you notice here, I spelled name wrong. So if I click on this cell and start typing, notice what happens. It deleted everything that I had. And that's not what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do is change business name. So this is an important time to talk about the difference between being in a cell and on a cell. So if I click on a cell, if I start typing, it's going to delete everything that I have in the cell and replace it with whatever I'm typing now. If I wanted to go into the cell, if I double click, now it brings up the cursor, and now I can just edit the couple of letters that I have that are out of place. So now I can just type in name correctly and I'm good to go. So now we're going to type our first record. So our business name is A&R Barbecue. The business type is a restaurant. The location is 1802 Elvis Presley Boulevard. And the owners are Andrew and Rose Pollard. Enter. Now, as you can see, because of what we stated earlier, we can't really see the information on here that good because the column width isn't big enough. So I can't really see business type, restaurant is cut off, the address is cut off. So what I can do to save time, I can highlight A, B, C, and D, and then I can click anywhere in between any of these columns, and it'll automatically resize the columns to fit the data that I've entered. And just like that, everything is resized. Now I'm going to pause for a second to let the magic of editing get some more data on the screen for us. All right, so now that we have some records in our spreadsheet, let's dress it up a little bit. Dress it up and make it real for me. So let's make this look a little bit nicer. So one of the things that we can do is how we have our title of our spreadsheet, which is Black-owned businesses in Memphis, Tennessee. It's off to the left, and it doesn't really look like it's the title of the entire spreadsheet. Just looks like it's the title for column A. So this title really spans across column B, column C, and column D. And what we can do about this is we can merge these cells together so that this data is over all of the columns instead of just over column A. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Home tab, and in the alignment group, we're going to click on Merge and Center. And now this is over all of the columns. All right, so now one thing that we can do, we can also change the size of our font in this particular cell so that it stands out and we really know that it's a header. So if we click on our big cell that we have now, if we click on that one, we can change this to bold, and we can also change the font size by going to the font group on the Home tab, and we can change this to 14. Now, this is our spreadsheet header, but we also have column headers. So these need to stand out as well so that they know that this isn't a record. So we can bold this as well, or you could put it in italics. You could underline it. You could do any of that. You could change the color to a different color so that it stands out. And all of these are in the font group. So for ours, we're just going to keep this as black. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the fill color. So again, on the home tab in the font group, we're going to change this background to a gray. This is a lighter gray, and now this stands out. So let's also change our spreadsheet to a darker gray so that we know that this is the header for the sheet. And then we also have headers for our columns. Now, one other thing that I'll show you is this isn't really in any kind of order. So we have these different businesses here and they're kind of all out of whack. So what we could do is we could put this information in alphabetical order. So in order to do that, we're going to highlight all of the information that we have here. And then we want to come to the home tab and we're going to go to the editing group and we're going to choose sort and filter. Now we want to do a custom sort. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to check this box here that says my data has headers, because we did type headers. So now it's only going to sort the information that is below this first row here, which is our header. If we didn't have this checked, then it would sort business name with all of the other records, and we don't want to do that. So let's check my data has headers, and we want to sort by the business name, and we want to put those in alphabetical order from A to Z. We click OK. Boom, magic. All right, and now we have all of our data sorted into alphabetical order. But wait, I almost forgot about one of my favorite black-owned businesses in Memphis. It's called Slim and Huskies. And since my data is already sorted in alphabetical order, this is a great time to show you how to insert a row. So just by eyeballing this, I can see that Slim and Huskies will go in between Quintessential Sweets and Smackers. So to insert a new row, I'm going to go to the Home tab and the Sales group. And when I click on Insert, I have the option of inserting new cells, new rows, new columns, or even a new sheet. But in this case, we need a new row. Now this gives me a new row to insert the additional data. Now this works for columns as well. An additional way to insert is by right-clicking and going to insert on either a column or a row. Now I think this gives you a pretty good foundation with using Microsoft Excel, and hopefully it's not as intimidating and you can see the benefit of using a spreadsheet software like Microsoft Excel. In a future video, we'll look at some intermediate formatting and also introduce formulas, and that's where Excel can get really powerful. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, it's your boy, Porter the Plug. I'll catch you in the next one.